See the breaking news slide up there that the Toronto Maple Leafs have acquired John Tavares via free agency.
Yeah, and listen, it's a great day for the Toronto Maple Leaf fans. It's very hard to get a guy this caliber in the prime of his career involved in your organization. Seldom, Brian and Doug, even in your days, do you let players like this get to this point.
At 27.
The Islanders fought hard, but I think it was abundantly clear, and I don't know when he made his decision, but there's no question that he was looking forward to a change, and now he's got it with the Toronto Maple Leafs.
And don't ever kid yourself. The young talent that they've brought into the Maple Leafs with the obviously Matthews, Nylander, Marner have certainly helped, and Morgan Riley's development, Kadri's development. Look, it's a team that you would want to go to because you have a chance to win for a number of years. And then you looked at San Jose. They were moving into that core group was getting older real fast. So it makes a lot of sense.
I agree with all of that. I think it's a good story. Also, it's a great city. You're in Eastern Conference travel. They've got great young players around them. They've had a couple good drafts on top of it. This all makes perfect sense to me, except, and I'll be interested to hear Kyle talk about this, how do you keep all these pieces on the chessboard going forward? That's the only question. And these are thorough people. This is not a topic that they haven't discussed at great length. But how do you keep all the pieces on the chessboard going forward? Because I can't see how you do it.
Are you prepared then to lose one of those pieces or have to trade one of those pieces?
They need a defenseman anyway. Maybe it's Nylander has to go for a D. So one of those guys, sure.
Yeah, it's been thoroughly discussed, as Brian said. You know, this has been talked about for back 2 or 3 months since they felt they were going to jump into this Tavares thing. We've heard it. 3 months ago that the Leafs were going to be heavily involved in this search, in this hunt to try to get this guy. So look, they'll work around the salary cap. They have experts that spend time, and you're projecting 5 years ahead right now as to where your franchise is going to be vis-a-vis salary cap and what these guys are going to make. And if they don't fit into that, like a Kucherov in Tampa Bay, you've got to go buy them.
Now, if you're Marner and Matthews, and you're eligible to get an extension today, what do you do? Now, does Kyle Dubas, now that he's got Tavares pen and paper, now start focusing on long-term extensions on those two guys?
Sure.
You'd think so.
Yeah.
But if I'm now Marner or Matthews right now, I'm not in any hurry. We saw Buffalo really... Yeah, we're good to go.
No, John Tavares has just confirmed it himself that he signed with the Toronto Maple Leafs.
We know Buffalo shot it out of the cannon the first chance they got with Eichel. Mm-hmm. Do the Leafs want to do that? And if so, at what price? If I'm now Marner and Matthews, I say hold on for a second. Right? If I'm Marner right now, I'm going to play with Tavares.
History in the league has always shown if you wait, you get more money. So that's just the way it is.
If I'm Mitch Marner
when
now,
you're a young star,
and you might be thinking about me bridging for 6 or 7 years or 6 or 7 million, do I not want to wait and play with John Tavares and maybe win a scoring title or sit in the top 3 or 4 and go, no, I'm going to take my $6 million now and I'm going to turn it into 10 or 11.
It all depends on if you want to win.
This quote, "It's time to live my childhood dream in Toronto." That's from John Tavares and his Twitter account right now. But that allure, Brian, you lived it as a manager trying to sell that, of coming back to Toronto, and they capitalize on it.
I said when I came to Toronto as a general manager, the GM that wins the Stanley Cup here, they're going to name schools after him and streets after him, right? That's how big it is here. And if John can come in and produce a real championship team, it'd be great.
This is from John Tavares' Twitter account. "These past 6 days have been nothing I could have ever expected, making the toughest decision of my life. To stay where I've been my entire career or take a calculated leap of faith into an opportunity that I believe will be a special one to me and my family. The island has been home. It's what I know. It's part of me. It always will be. I can't thank you all enough for the dedication you have showed. I am sorry if this decision pains you, as you can tell it wasn't easy, but have trust in the future because it's bright. The Islanders are in great hands. I'm thankful that I had the opportunity to be an Islander for as long as I did. The island, the fans, the organization, my teammates will always be special to me and my family, but it's time to live my childhood dream here in Toronto." Interesting that he's almost consoling the Islander fans, Elliot.
And right now, unofficially, but I think the number is $77 million, which is 11 on an AAV, which would be very favorable for Kyle Dubas and Brendan Shanahan to start worrying about those second-tier contracts.
So that would be a salary cap win.
I would
at $11
believe so.
million.
If we believe to Elliot's story about San Jose being as aggressive as $13 million.
There was a rumor
right?
going around that there.
So again, that's
I don't know if that's
unconfirmed right
true.
now,
I don't know
but
if
the
that's
word
true.
is right now that it's lower than what San Jose was prepared to pay.
But if Matthews and Marner and Nylander all want 11, it's going to be a little tougher.
Elliot,
Wait a year and you'll get that, you said.
You've been on the phone and on the computer. Just want to bring you into the conversation.
You know, I mean, it depends on where you live in Canada, how you feel today.
Yeah.
If you're a member of Maple Leafs Nation, you're ecstatic. I mean, when was the last time the Toronto Maple Leafs brought a star player in free agency at this level, in the prime of his career? And you know, and I think, you know, the new front office, Brendan Shanahan, Kyle Dubas, this is a huge win for them. There's no question. I mean, when Kyle Dubas took over the job, there were people who questioned his experience, but the one thing I think people who were believers in his knew that he was a different thinker and he was confident, and he went in there and he pulled this off.
What does it do, Brian, do you think, for Kyle Dubas, and Doug, follow up on this? Basically, in the simplest terms, out-dueling Lou Lamoriello in the negotiation, because he won the player from the New York Islanders.
Well, first off, he won the Derby with Lou Lamoriello, too, and managed to become the GM of the Leafs. Then he outduels him for JT. He's on a good roll. He should buy lottery tickets right now. Long term, as a GM, it's winning and losing that decides everything. So what does this do for him? When they write the history books, nothing. But today, this is a sweet victory for a young GM. Congratulations. And it's a big day for the Toronto Maple Leafs.
You know, to acquire a player like this in the prime of his career doesn't... And
Excuse me one sec. I just want to confirm, Nick, you're correct. It's $11 million.
Thank you, Elliot.
No worries, bud.
You know, this just doesn't happen to franchises, that you get guys at 27 years of age that are one of the best players in the world, and you got them to come in here. So, yeah, it's a huge win for a new management group. But it also speaks to what was going on the island, whether Lou was there, Trotz was there, they had all kinds of issues, and what's been happening positively here. And whether you like it or not, Babcock has come in here and changed this culture. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden, they're considered a contending team. And I think, as Nick has talked about plenty, Marner, Nylander, Matthews, all that. Morgan Riley, one of your guys, those guys have all played an important part in luring him here. They have a chance to win. That's what it's all. It's always
he's got a
chance to
goaltender.
win.
John Tavares talked about his childhood dream, and not every day you can live the childhood dream, and this is the kids set up with the Maple Leafs blanket and the pillow. This is off his Twitter account at 91 Tavares. I'm thrilled to be starting a new chapter of my career and life in Toronto with the Maple Leafs. I feel very fortunate to come and join the team with a great young core and play where I grew up learning and loving the game. I can't wait to get started.